Hey everybody, in this week's video I decided to make a 5-ingredient or less recipe that I found on Pinterest, and it's for a broccoli chicken casserole, and it was really good, and it is something that you can quickly throw together, and I will include the recipe link in the description below. So this recipe is really easy to throw together quickly on a weeknight when you are looking for something that will really fill you up, as it's got cheese and chicken and broccoli, so there's a lot of fiber and protein in it. And I was able to get it done before my husband got home from work, and he really enjoyed it. So this is definitely a crowd pleaser. So let's get to cooking. So here's my ingredients. It's broccoli, stuffing mix, chicken breast, broccoli cheese soup, and sharp cheddar. So those are your 5 ingredients. So you just preheat the oven before you start everything else, and then the next step is to make the stuffing as the package calls for. You just omit, I believe it's the butter. And so I boiled the water, and now I'm adding the stuffing mix and stirring it up as the directions tell me to until it is finished cooking. Your next step is to thaw the broccoli, so I put it in a bowl and covered it with water and let it sit while I did the next step, which is to cube your chicken breasts. And I did 2 chicken breasts to make the amount that I needed for this recipe, so I just cubed them into bite-sized pieces, and then I put them in my pan. I added a little coconut oil, because the recipe calls for cooked chicken, which is why it's only 1 ingredient. So once that is finished cooking, then I set it to the side. Next, I sprayed my 2 containers. I do 2 because I made enough for my husband and I, plus a little extra for the baby to try, and then I put the rest that it makes into a freezer dish for a future meal. For God has a reason. Now I'm adding the broccoli cheese soup to this bowl with my cooked chicken, and then also I'm adding the thawed broccoli, and then I give that a good stir until it is all well mixed together. The two become one. Once it's all mixed together, I transferred 2/3 of it into the glass dish that will be our dinner for that evening, and then the rest of it into the freezer safe dish, which I got a bunch of these off Amazon because I planned on getting an upright freezer to make a bunch of freezer meals, and that hasn't happened yet, but I have started using them to put into our deep freezer, and it's actually come in handy on those nights where we get home late. I can just throw one of these meals into the oven. Once I've sectioned the mix between the 2 pans, I spread it out evenly so that the top is flat, and then I added the stuffing mix that we had prepared beforehand. As love grows between a woman and man, 2 hearts draw together, 2 hearts beat as one. Now that the stuffing mix is all on top, I topped both of the casseroles with cheese, and I never measure out cheese when I'm making a casserole, because I don't know if it's because I live in Wisconsin or if because cheese is delicious, but I just made sure that the entire top of each of the casseroles was covered, and that way when it melts it doesn't have little spots where there's no cheese, because that is very sad. Now it's time to pop these suckers into the oven, and you put them into a preheated oven for 20 minutes covered, which in this video I forgot to put the cover on until after I'd already videotaped, and so instead of redoing the video I just put the foil on after I was done. So make sure to cover yours with aluminum foil and bake for 20 minutes. Now that 20 minutes is up, you are to take the aluminum foil off and bake uncovered until heated through, which is like 10 to 15 minutes. And I don't do the additional time for the freezer meal. I take that out and I label it. When I label my meals, I make sure to write what it is, the temperature I have to heat it up at and the time I should heat it for. Sometimes I add the date, but if I know that we're gonna eat it like well before it would go bad, I just leave that off. But I make sure to label everything so that I don't have to go back and look for a recipe when I'm trying to reheat a freezer meal. So here's our finished product. As you can see, it's just covered in melted cheese, which is never a bad thing. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if it's something that you enjoyed, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And also don't forget, if you are not already subscribed, to click that subscribe button and the bell for notifications so that anytime I post a future video that you will be notified. All right, see you next time. Bye.